Hi guys, welcome to a new video. Today I'll be working on one of my it's actually the largest portulacaria afra that I've got. Kind of refer to this as the big guy. Um, it's been with me the longest. There's a few things that's happened to it, as I'll describe throughout the video. It's looking really mature. It's nice. It's got a nice nabari on it. It's probably, here's my hand just for size reference. It's probably, 4 inches across right at the base and probably a good 2 inch diameter here on the trunk. So today I'm just going to be doing some light pruning. There might be a branch or two that needs pruned off. And just to give you an idea how fast something like this can develop, I've got a smaller tree over here. Let me show you that. So here's a smaller version. This is very similar to how this tree started out. As you can see, it's a lot smaller than what it is now. And I'll show you some pictures now. I'm just showing the progress, how fast these grow. The first picture I'll show you is, from about 6 years ago. As you can see, it's pretty small, very young. And then the next picture is from about 3 years ago. So you can see how fast it develops in 3 years. And then here's what it looks like today from that 3-year photo. So with the right environment, the right care, they can really develop fast. So here we go on today's work. Like I said, we're just gonna kind of refine some of the pads, get rid of some of these shoots that have kind of grown up. One thing that I'm thinking about, this branch here has been bugging me for a while. It used to have a Y. It used to come out this way, so all of this was filled with branches too, which didn't give me a lot of room from the base up to the first branches. You didn't really get to see much of the trunk. And now that I'm still looking at this, I think this one is still bugging me a little bit. It'd be nice if it was up higher, because I still think it comes out too straight. I was going to wire it over like that, but then you still have this pointing straight out. So I don't know. I think I'll sit on it for a minute. Let me know what you think in the comments. Should I cut that off, or should I leave it there? Be interesting to see what you guys think. But for now, let's just kind of work on some of these shoots here. Like in some of my other videos, I try to get rid of some of the small, where the shoots have kind of come out, got a little leggy, and then I'll get rid of some of the downward facing branches and leaves, just to make the bottom of the pads flat. Here's a branch you can see that's pointing down, so we'll get rid of that. Just helps clean that up there. And when I'm working on these trees, everybody does it different. I really like to take my time and really study the tree. To me, this is something I do to relax. So it's not a chore that I'm hurrying to get through. It's something that, like I said, it relaxes me, and I take the time to study the trees, and really kind of get in close to them and investigate. just to make sure there's nothing going on with them, no bugs, no other issues. But you know, I've got a few trees. I've got if you include all of my starts and cuttings, seedlings, I've probably got, you know, 60 to 70 trees. Probably only, you know, 20 to 30 that are truly in development. But it's still, you know, it's a decent amount. It keeps me busy, but it still allows me to take my time on them. You know, like I said, I'm not in a rush because I do this just to relax and kind of enjoy things. And it's cooler here in Texas, so I'm doing the work inside now. I've got everything under grow lights. In the summertime, I've got a bench, a work table set up outside that I'll work on, but I've got a nice little place here inside that I can do the work on. This branch is kind of, if you can see that, it's kind of coming straight up, but I almost like that better than the one that's going down. So it kind of helps tie these two areas together. I think we'll get rid of the one that's growing down. This one here is growing up towards the inside. Get rid of that. This is kind of what I'm shooting for, this nice pad development. Just get rid of some of these downward facing leaves. This branch here is growing back towards the inside. If you can see that, right here is what I'm looking at. It's going back towards the inside, so we'll remove that. It just helps when you get rid of the ones that are growing pretty much straight vertical or back into the tree. It just keeps it, you know, has that more flows out, more pleasing to the eye when you look at it in total. There's some here that are getting a little long and kind of starting to go down. We'll get rid of that. Another one here. There's one here that's a little long. A little long up here. And as I'm working around, you know, I'll just keep looking at it. Every time I touch it, you know, just trying to improve it just a little bit. working on these trees isn't a one time and you're done thing. It's constant refinement over time to continually to get them into the shape that you want. And what I like about these portulacarias is, they, under the right conditions, they grow pretty fast. So you can really see them grow and develop pretty quick into something really nice. But some other trees, take a long time to grow, to where you prune them once in a season and then kind of let them sit and then come back to them the following season. But these trees, you can prune multiple times in a year. So that's fun to me. You can really see the growth, and you always have something to work on. As you can tell, sometimes, you can cut the leaves, or if you just grab them and pinch them, you can pull them off that way too. Just whatever you prefer. Another long shoot over here. You can see this one's getting a little long and kind of pointing down, so we'll get rid of that. Take this leaf that's growing down. Here's a scar from a branch that was cut off there. It's starting to dry up, so you can, once that dries up a little more, you can just pick it off. So here's a branch up in here. Let me show you if you can see it. This one here is kind of pointing straight up, and it's almost, going back towards the inside of the tree. I'm thinking about taking that off. Let's see what kind of, here it is from the other side. It's going to lose a little bit of that pad, but not too much. This will fill in, so I think we'll go ahead and get rid of that. There it is. We could probably use that as a cutting, start that. Just like that. You could either stick that into soil, or you could water propagate too. I've been water propagating a lot lately, and plan on a video on propagating these portulacarias. I'll talk about the propagating in soil and in water, and how you do both. kind of like kind of enjoying the water propagating, just because you can see the roots grow. Because sometimes in soil it just takes a while, and you're not really sure if it's taking and growing or not until you see the new growth coming on top. But the water, you can tell if it's developing new roots or not. In some of these areas that I've already cut, I'll just continue to work around the tree, and some of them I'll end up cutting back a little bit more. Like I said, it's not just a kind of a one-time thing. It's just continuing to refine it and getting it to the way you want. This is kind of growing down, so we'll just go ahead and remove all that. Some of these downward facing leaves, it just really cleans up the pads when you can have it flat on the bottom. So you clean up these downward facing leaves, and it just really kind of cleans that up, where you can kind of look in through here and see the branches, and look through the tree. Here's some. Oh, and earlier I said this tree's been through a lot. Back here, this branch here, it's kind of, it looks like two branches that are kind of wying and splitting off, which you may want to cut that. But the story behind this is we had a hailstorm here in Texas, and the hailstones were giant. I mean, some of them were this big around, and I didn't get a chance to bring this tree in, so this tree just got hammered with these hailstones. I'll see if I can find some pictures to show you how big those were. But once that storm was over, I went out and looked at the tree the next day, and some of these branches were drooping down. So I picked them up, kind of held them back together, and put some wire and some wrap around it just to try to salvage the branch. And I did, but as you can see, it's still got that split in it. So it's just a, this is a crossing branch here, which I don't really care for, but I'm leaving it there just because of the story, and it adds a little character to the tree. But yeah, that hailstorm was pretty nasty. Ended up getting a new roof on the house out of it. Didn't have any damage. We had one car get damaged, but yeah, I guess that's what insurance is for, right? Okay, just continuing to work around the tree. Work on bringing some of this down to as you know, I'm just getting started with the YouTube channel. I've been working with trees for a while, 10 to 15 years, but just started the channel this year, and you guys seem to like the first video that I posted. Got a few views on it and picked up some subscribers. So I just want to tell everybody thanks for for taking a look. Appreciate all the likes. Had one comment. Appreciate that. Like I said, I'm just trying to build a community here that we can all just kind of interact and learn from each other, and enjoy the art of bonsai. And the way I look at bonsai, there are guidelines, rules, whatever you want to call them, in shaping trees, and if you're going to enter shows, you probably need to really, follow those pretty close. If your goal is to win awards and things like that. But if you're just doing it to enjoy the art, it's kind of nice to know what the rules are to develop a nice, pleasing tree. But the way I look at it, there's really no right way or wrong way. I mean, the overall goal should be to keep a healthy tree. As far as styling it, you know, to each his own. If you like really contorted, wired up trees, go for it. If you like the more formal, upright or clip and grow, where you don't use any wire, you just clip and use directional pruning to make the branch go the way you want. That's fine too. I mean, everybody's got their own style, and I like all of them, but I do use some wire. This one's been wired over the years. Right now I've got a piece of wire here holding this branch up, because if not, it droops way down here, and I'm just trying to keep it up because I really don't want to cut this branch off. One thing I am thinking about, though, maybe you guys can weigh in on this, is this branch here. Thinking about trying to decide if I want to cut that off or not. Yeah, I think if it's gone, I still have a decent couple pads here. I don't think I would lose much if I did that, but because it is getting a little low over here. But if we can just imagine if that wasn't there, these pads here really kind of fill in the space, and I don't think that would miss anything. And these other branches have some nice structure to them. So again, let me know what you think. Kind of undecided on what I want to do. If I want to get rid of that, I could just get rid of this lower part and leave this one, but not really sure. We'll come back to that. And it's funny, the more you look at the tree, As you can see, as I'm spinning it around, I'll see branches that I missed, the first time through that are pointing down, getting a little long. But like I said, I enjoy just taking time, really studying it, looking at it, and if I do miss something in this session, I'll pick it up the next time I work on the tree. So I'm not too worried about it. It's starting to take shape. Clean some of these up. Oh, another story here. This next to this guy, this was a leaf that fell, and it actually rooted. So I'm letting that grow to see how tall it gets. But as you can see, it's developing. Not real fast, but it is growing. Probably doesn't get a lot of water that close to the surface, because I use lava and akadama, so that surface layer doesn't really stay that damp. So the roots probably aren't deep enough to really pick up a lot of water yet, but it's been growing, so we'll see how tall it gets. Start working on the top here. And the goal here, you've got pads down in the lower part of the tree and through here. And then once you get to the top, you've got a gap here, and then I could develop pads in here and then work on the dome for the crown up here at the top, which I kind of like. Or I could just start the dome here and fill all this in to where it's a bigger dome at the top, but kind of like being able to see through there. But the thicker it gets up there, the harder it is for all the leaves up there to get light. So they end up, it gets too thick, they'll start shading each other out, and then you'll start losing leaves on the interior part. And you lose some of the ramification because everything's going to get longer and grow towards the light, trying to get that light. That's looking better. And some people are a little afraid, timid, scared, whatever you want to call it, about pruning, trimming their trees, especially portulacaria afra. Another reason I like working on them, you don't really have to stress out about it too much, because if you cut it a little too short, or if you cut a branch that you wished you didn't, they'll grow back. Like just like these areas here that I trimmed off earlier, this was a branch that was sticking up. I cut that off, and it had a new shoot develop already. So it, like I said, they'll grow back. Need this to fill in a little bit more up here. Got some gaps there, but that'll fill in pretty quick. But overall, I'm happy with the shape. You know, front to back, it's got a nice overall shape to it, rounded. Just continuing to take some of these downward leaves off. Okay, decision time. So this front branch. I'm still thinking it needs to go. That way you'll be able to see the trunk structure. So, yep, I think it's going. So we'll get in here fairly close to the trunk, but not right up against it. There it goes. So it's kind of flat, but you know, with the interesting shape here, I think it'll make a nice cutting. So yeah, I think I'll try to get that to root, and you know, start a new tree out of that. Like I said, when I work on that, I'll make another video just to kind of discuss propagating portulacarias in both water and soil, and kind of my experience with doing both. So be on the lookout for that. I'll probably clean this up a little bit more. And another thing I like about portulacarias is, you know, even these branches, you know, they get really thick, but you can still cut most of them with scissors because they're not that hard. So I'll leave that, you know, a little bit away from the trunk. It's like up here, you can see that this was a branch that's healed over nicely. So just adds a little character, but it will heal pretty good. So we'll leave that, it'll dry out and then fall off and then start healing. Cleaning some of this stuff out up on top. So you can see some of these leaves down here, they're already starting to yellow a little bit just because they're not getting any light. So the tree will quit feeding them because they're not contributing anything, because they're not getting light. So they'll drop. So that's another reason why I might leave that, and try to develop another pad layer here, and then further develop this crown, just so the top stays healthier and I don't get a lot of that die off from the leaves getting too thick up here on top. Could probably keep going on this, but I think we might just leave it there for today. Still undecided on this branch over here. If you could just let me know what you think, and be curious to see some that I missed over here. Like I said, the more I look at it, the more I realize, some little things that I missed, but no big deal. I could catch them next time. But yeah, let me know what you think about this branch. If that should stay or go. I'll revisit that next time I work on this tree, and I'll give you guys an update. So I think that's it for today. I'll give you a quick spin around. So there's the front. There's the left side. And there's the back. Right side. Back to the front. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.